What's up, y'all? How y'all feeling today? Let's get straight into it. I want to talk about Chrysler. Let's start with Chrysler. Let's start off with Chrysler. Let's talk about how they had one of the worst sedans, worst passenger sedans of the 90s. We all know about the Chrysler LHS, the Concords, we know about the Neons, we know about the Intrepids, we know the 300Ms. Now, it wasn't all, Plymouth Breeze, let me throw that in there. Now, they weren't all bad, They were, I would say, 75% bad, 25% good. So, they had we all know about the 2.7s, which is the worst engines known to man, but they also had They had the 3.5, which is a pretty good engine, and the 2.4. It's a basic engine, but the main problem is the quality of the cars was not that good. So, we all know they all suffered from, they had horrible transmissions. That was one of the worst things that the Chrysler's cars had of the 90s. The transmissions were horrible. The interior plastics was horrible. The rest of the cars was just cheaply made. And I'm going to just say this. I blame it on the merger with Daimler Benz. I feel like they should have never merged, because if you think about it, Chrysler has something good going for them besides the sedans. Their minivans and the introduction of the 94 Dodge Ram. Those were Chrysler's strong proven areas. And let me throw this out here. I can tell you that they spent some money and time on those, because you still see that second generation Dodge Ram on the road today. You see it on the road. You still see the Chrysler minivans, the Dodge Caravans from 01 to 07. They're everywhere. Even though the motherfuckers had transmission issues, it's cheap to throw a junkyard transmission into the thing. Or get one for like $1,000, Those are their top quality vehicles, I feel like. And it makes you wonder, with all the money that they were making from the minivans, that Dodge Ram, which was so unique for its time, it kind of looked like a semi-truck. It makes you wonder, where did their money go? Because it definitely didn't go to those cab forward cars, Where did the money just go back into the redevelopment of the trucks or back into the vans? I really want to know where it went. And if you look at Mercedes at the time, right? Mercedes in the 90s, they were pretty, they had the S600, you had the E-Class, you had all them good Mercedes, I just feel like that merger hurted them. Chrysler could have merged with, let's say, Nissan at the time, right? Nissan was struggling. They were facing bankruptcy in the late 90s. I think the only thing that saved them was them cost cutting, which really hurt them in the future, and the makings of the Nissan Xterra, which was a parchment vehicle from the Frontier, And I feel like Nissan, they could have made an Infinity version of the Xterra. And they could have thrown the DQ engine in there, the 3.5 engine in there, you know? They, because it had the 3.3 engine. But anyway, let's get back to the topic. Imagine if Chrysler and Nissan came together, you know? Those sedans, right? Throw away that bullshit. They could have thrown away the 3.5 that Chrysler had, and they could have thrown in Nissan's engines and transmissions inside of their sedans. And they could have used the bodies, the chassis from Nissan instead of the bullshit chassis that they used with Chrysler. Some of those cars would still be on the road today. I kid you not. You know, because people don't understand. Nissan has some bulletproof engineering, very bulletproof engineering. It's just their management was horrible. They didn't have a good management system, you know. Chrysler's management I feel like it was pretty decent if they didn't have the Daimler Benz. I feel like Chrysler would have been, today, I feel like Chrysler would be in a better situation that they are compared to what they are now, if they never would have been merged with Daimler Chrysler. Because you got to think about it. If you look at Chrysler history, right? So in the 2000s, like 2005, when the LX platform came out, that was a pretty good car. And you know what? That was a result from Mercedes, because the 300 is actually, the LX is actually a park bin vehicle from the E-Class, which was pretty good. You know, I'm not going to say everything that came from Chrysler was bad, but can you imagine a Nissan and a Chrysler engineering before the CVTs? I'm talking about the 90s engineering from Nissan. Nissan had a whole bunch of shit. They had the 300 ZX. They had the 3500. Nissan had, what was that? The Infiniti, the J30. It's a funny looking car. The Maxima was their when it debuted in, was it 1991 or 1992? The new styling from the Maxima was big at the time. That's actually, I feel like that's the most legendary Maxima from that era. Man, they had the Skyline, they had the Sevilla, you know, and there's other cars that they had that I didn't name, but Nissan was really a halo car company, and that's what really hurt them, because the bills don't pay from halo cars, they pay from everyday cars, you know. So I just feel like at the time Chrysler was in a position, Nissan was in a position that they could have came together. And man, think about it, right? The Nissan Titan, when it came out, right, it was really nothing wrong with the truck. It was a pretty reliable truck, good truck. Imagine if the Nissan Titan came out. No, imagine if Chrysler and Nissan were together when the Titan came out. Man, they could have like a Titan 2500, a Titan 3500. Nissan would have been the first Japanese brand with heavy duty trucks. The Titan was already a solid truck. They could have the Dodge Ram could have shared the platform with the Titan somehow, you know. It's a lot of what could have been, you know. Just makes you think, you know, like it's very important to have good managers in your life, you know. Nissan had good engineering, but they had horrible management. Chrysler had, besides the Ram and the Caravan, Chrysler had horrible management. But great. No. They had great engineering and horrible management too. So, but anyway, I didn't mean to make this video long, but what do you guys think about all of that could have been? You know, do you think Nissan would have been Chrysler or Nissan, if they would have merged in the 90s, do you think they would have been better off as a company today than Stellantis would be? Let me know. All right, bye.